Greetings, I'm the Bulgarian Trocodite. Today I'm gonna talk about 10 feel-good TV shows, and then I'm also gonna talk about the sad passing of one great TV actor. But this was of course inspired by the 10 feel-good movies tag, which I just did. But I thought that I would also do one for TV shows because often the feel-good stuff that I watch are TV shows instead of movies. So this topic really fits my TV show watching taste, I think. Yeah. But the sad news we just got like a few days ago is that the actor Anthony Head just passed away. He was of course very well known from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I watched the first couple seasons of Buffy, and he was really good in it. But I knew Anthony Head more from this show we have here, Merlin, the BBC Merlin TV show where Anthony Head played Uther Pendragon, and he was a very important part of the cast throughout most of the show. Yeah, and Uther Pendragon, of course, is Prince Arthur's or King Arthur's father, but in the show, he is the king when the show starts, and Arthur is still a prince because this show is about young Prince Arthur and young wizard Merlin. Yeah. But Anthony Head gives a great performance as this tyrannical King Uther, but he's not one of those cartoon villains that's just, oh, look at me, I'm so evil. Like he is pretty evil, but there is a good side to him as well, like how he loves his son, and we also understand why he became evil and a tyrant because he has a tragic past when he had to witness the love of his life die and stuff like that. But anyway, and I thought that I would talk about this show here as kind of a bonus thing, well, due to the passing of Anthony Head, but I think this is also a feel good TV show for the most part. It's of course a fantasy adventure, lots of it's filled with great British humor, it's filled with fun adventures and fun battles with fun monsters and knights and magic and dragons and wizards and witches, but it has that tragedy side to it as well as many King Arthur tales do, so it kind of retains that spirit from many of the literary works. So I didn't want to kind of have it as one of my 10 feel good picks, but I wanted to have it as a bonus pick, as it is pretty much of a feel good series, but then the final season turns it into a tragedy. Yeah. But I love the characters here. They have such great chemistry together, especially Arthur and Merlin. Their bromance is so much fun to watch. And this show, if you are looking for a great, light-hearted fantasy series that also has some interesting themes to it, and it's a show that like the whole family can watch together, but it also has a more mature, thoughtful side to it, even though it also has that bit of a childish thing there as well. Yeah, but this was just a bonus pick here, and rest in peace, Anthony Head. He was a great actor. And now let's get into the actual list that I have here. So we are gonna start with my favorite K-drama. It's Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha, directed by Yu Yi Won. So this has been my big obsession for the last year, and it's really crazy. I watched this for the first time back in May 2025, so just a year ago, and I've already watched it 4 times front to back. I think it's like 20 hours long. It's 16 episodes, but the episodes are quite long, as they usually are with K-dramas. And this you can watch on Netflix if you get interested in it. But it's about this woman in her early 30s. She lives in Seoul. She's a successful dentist. She's an upper class or upper middle class woman. But then, due to some circumstances, she quits her job at her clinic and then she moves to this small seaside town that's filled with these very weird people. And she starts a clinic there. And then she meets this guy who has a mysterious past. He has gone through a lot of trauma, but he's that kind of a perfect guy that he's good at everything. He's very smart, very funny, extremely handsome. And then they become friends and they get into lots of fun situations together. And then there of course, eventually is a romance. So for the most part, this is very feel good, very optimistic show about love and human connection, about friendship and about lots of fun characters. But it's a very dark show at times. There are some really dark episodes when we find out about the male lead's past and all the bad things that he has gone through. So it has a darker edge to it, but overall it's a very feel good movie. And it's again situated in this beautiful seaside town, and it's shot really beautifully. And it also shows how, like, that upper middle class woman who at first doesn't like these kind of poorer village people and these like working class village people and less sophisticated village people, but it shows how she becomes friends with them, and it shows how people can look past those social status and class and things like that. So it's very feel good in that way too. So many great characters, so many funny episodes. Like the whole vibe of it is so cozy and beautiful and fun. Like I absolutely adore this show. Like like it shows how I watched it 4 times in less than a year. So now I need to take a big break from it. Like I think about this show way too much. It's like the OC and Gilmore Girls and shows like that to me now that I'm absolutely obsessed about this world. I feel like all the characters are my friends. And yeah, such great show, great acting too, and great soundtrack. Yeah, there are a few songs in the soundtrack that I listen to all the time. And it has some tear-jerking moments as well. Yeah, it can make you cry too. Yeah, but highly recommend this if you have Netflix. So these Korean dramas have such great production value. They're always shot so well, and the actors tend to be good in every show that I have watched. So I would highly recommend K-dramas in general. Then we have the best Japanese TV show. Well, the best Japanese live action TV show I've ever watched. This one you can also watch on Netflix. It's called First Love, or in Japanese it's called Hatsukoi, which just means first love. It's directed by Yuri Kanchiku, and this is just absolutely incredible. This also has great production value. It feels like very cinematic. Yeah, I think it's like 10 or 11 episodes, and the episodes are like around hour long, so you can watch this in like a couple of days or even in a day if you start early. But here we actually have a story that's divided into two different kind of timelines. So we follow this guy and this woman. I mean, the poster, they are older in their 30s, and here they are in their teens. But yeah, they are again two characters that fell in love as teenagers. They were each other's first love, but then something happens and they get separated for many years. But then they meet again later on in life in their 30s. And this is like a very, I think, mature exploration of how about like first love and also about our dreams when we are young and how they often don't come through. And this show has like interesting vibe. It's very optimistic and sentimental, but in a good way. But it's also mature and fairly realistic in many ways. And it has that kind of Koreeda film vibe to it, and it's really beautifully shot. It has that beautiful like Japanese slice of life vibe to it, and there are lots of twists and turns in the story as well. And the structure is very interesting how it keeps jumping back to their teenage years and then their 30s. And then there are lots of side characters in both timelines as well, like their families, for example. And this has great soundtrack as well. It was inspired by the famous Japanese pop singer Hikaru Utada, and this show actually made me a big fan of her. Yeah, and this one also has like a really beautiful ending. And again, the show is very optimistic, but like I said, in some ways very realistic and mature as well. So it balances those things out really well. But overall, it's a very feel good story, I think. But it's also one that will make you cry, or at least it made me cry like a baby, especially in the end. But this one is just absolutely perfect. And I think if you haven't watched any Japanese shows, but if you've watched those Japanese slice of life films, whether they are the Koreeda films or Shunchi Iwai films or stuff like that, I would highly recommend this one on Netflix. This is just absolutely incredible. And like I said, it feels like very cinematic in terms of the style, so it feels like you are watching like 10-hour long movies basically. Yeah, and the actors are absolutely amazing as well. And this is one of those shows that I wanted it to last longer than it did in a good way. So yeah, and I have watched it twice and it got even better on the second time. Yeah, but please support this show and watch it on Netflix if you can. I think you won't be disappointed. At least I hope so. Yeah, and this is also very highly rated in general. Like here, it has like 4.2, so it's not only me who loves it. Yeah. Then we have another gay drama directed by Park Shin-woo. It's Our Unwritten Soul. And this one I've never talked about on my channel. But it's about these twin sisters that you have here. One of them lives in Seoul and has that like corporate job and like very tough life because she has to work all the time and her workplace is very toxic. And one of them, again, the woman in the right, still lives in her like childhood town and she doesn't have like consistent work. She didn't really study at university, so she's still trying to figure herself out. And she's kind of the family disappointment because, again, she doesn't have a full-time job and she just goes from job to job and lives a life that her parents don't like. But then again, the woman who is in Seoul in that corporate job, she has this again, she as her life is so bad, she has this like what's the word? Like she's in that kind of boiling point in her life that she needs a change because she cannot go through her toxic life anymore. So then the sisters, the twin sisters, decide to swap their places. So the successful one goes back to her hometown to live as her twin sister, and then the one who isn't successful goes to Seoul to do that corporate job, and then they come up with this plan how they can do that and swap their identities. And it kind of works out, and then it's really fun to see how they live each other's lives and then kind of discover many things about their lives. And then there are, of course, they both have their like romantic relationships and then other relationships with their like mother and stuff. But it's a really fun show. Yeah, it has a darker edge to it as well. Like the workplace is really toxic. Like there's this sexual harassment thing there. I mean, that's very common in Korean shows. And then there's this old lady and there's this kind of a murder type of plot there or a flashback. So it has those darker edges to it, but I think overall it's a very positive and feel good show about two women kind of finding themselves and finding happiness and trying to work out their issues and trying to get past their problems. And it's also a lot of fun. So many great characters. It's very entertaining. I was just watching like episode after episode after episode when I was watching it. And this one you can also find on Netflix. And this is also rated 4.2 on Letterboxd. So I'm not the only one who loves it. So I would highly recommend this one too. And this one is also like nicely shot that has great production value and great acting, etc. Yeah. Then this one I actually just recently rewatched. So it's Lovely Runner, another gay drama. And this one is also one that has a darker edge to it, but mostly it's very feel good, I think. But it's about this woman and this guy here. The guy is this successful pop star and he has an acting career as well. But even though he's very successful and very rich, very well known, he has issues with depression and stuff. And this woman is a big fan of him. She goes to his concert and she is in a wheelchair because she had a car accident. She was part of a car accident. But after this concert that she attends, this guy dies, and she is of course absolutely shocked by it because she's such a huge fan. And this guy had actually saved her life in this interesting way that I'm not gonna talk about here. But then after he dies, she randomly starts time traveling in order to save him. She has this watch that used to belong to him, and that watch enables her to time travel into the past. And she starts to try to like change the past. So maybe that changing the past would change the future as well. And during this series, she keeps going back to the past and then back to the current day as well. So it's a time travel story. And there's of course this love story between them. I'm not gonna spoil it too much, but it's a great love story. They have such a great chemistry together, and the actors are so good that you really feel that they actually love each other and that they would die for each other. I mean, the guy even says in a very beautiful moment that even if I die saving you, it's okay. Of course, that sounds like very cheesy, but he really sells that. And there's lots of crying in this show, lots of laughs. The humor is pretty lowbrow for the most part, but the plot is pretty high concept, I think. And I think the time traveling, I don't know how much it makes sense because obviously some people, when we have time travel stories, they spend all the time like thinking about whether this makes sense or not. I think it at least makes sense enough that it doesn't bother me in any way how they do time travel here. I think they do it well. And yeah, a great show. And this one is also very highly rated. So it has also 4.2. All of these have 4.2 for some reason here. I also like the K-pop in this. I've been listening to a song from this show called Sudden Shower a lot. When I say lot, I mean like dozens and dozens of times. I really fell in love with that song. But this show is just so beautiful. I think it's about true love and how love can even break the laws of physics and how love can just beat all the odds and beat all the darkness and murder and everything in life. And it does that in a very beautiful and even believable way, even though it has a pretty ridiculous plot when you start thinking about it. And I think this was also just added to Netflix. I currently have Netflix, so I think I saw that it was just added there. And it's also available in the Viki Rakuten streaming service. That's how I watched it. Yeah, but highly recommend this K drama as well. Well, then we have an American show called Smallville, which is about the young Clark Kent, aka Superman, living his teenage and early 20s in the town Smallville. Yeah. And here we of course have Lana Lang and Lex Luthor as well. So I finally watched this show like front to back last year. Back in early 2022, I had watched like the first 7 seasons and then first half of the 8th season. But because it's such an insanely long show, it has 10 seasons, hundreds of episodes, like over 200. Then I just couldn't finish it back then because it was too long. So yeah, but now I managed to finish it last year, and I really love this show, even though I don't think it's perfect or anything, but it's a great superhero show. I really love Tom Welling as Clark Kent. I think he does great job of being both Clark Kent and Superman. And the whole cast is great with Lex Luthor, Michael Rosenbaum as Lex Luthor is great. Lionel Luthor, Lex Luthor's father, is great. Lana Lang is great. Louis Lane is great. Chloe and all the characters are great. And this show has like almost all the like big Superman villains like Brainiac and Darkseid, and then General Zod in a couple of different versions even, and then it has what they call meteor freaks, so people who had been affected by kryptonite. Yeah, and this of course mixes teen drama with the superhero stuff, and I like that because I love teen drama stuff, but I also can like superhero stuff, and I like that it has two of those sides together. Yeah, some of the CGI can look a bit clunky, like from today's point of view, but I think for the most part the show looks really good. And there's lots of filler episodes, like each season has a bigger story as well, but there's lots of filler, especially in the first few seasons. But I think the filler episodes, most of them are good, even though they start to become formulaic the more you watch the show because they kind of recycle those ideas later on, and then some of the ideas are better than others. Like there's these episodes where like kryptonite affects Clark in many ways, and they keep recycling that. I think those are often quite fun, but then sometimes the meteor freak of the episode, like those episodic things, can be a bit boring as well. But I think overall it's a very good show, and I think I liked all the seasons, some of them more than others. But the last couple of seasons are actually like really great, and I think could be even argued to be the best seasons. So that's pretty impressive when it goes for 10 seasons and the last couple are really good. Yeah, like these posters for some reason look like really awful. I don't know why. If I look at these, like these don't really invite you to watch it. Yeah, but if you like Superman and you like DC Universe because you have the Superman villains here, but you also have the Flash and Aquaman and Green Arrow and other characters here too, if you're interested. And Supergirl, I really like her, and that's actually one of my gripes here is that I wanted them to utilize her more, but then she gets pretty limited screen time overall, I think. Yeah. And I think in like the show could have been a bit shorter, like or maybe the seasons could have been a bit shorter. That if you cut 2 or 3 filler episodes each season, it would have been better. But overall, it's a very good show that I would recommend. Yeah. Then we have a Japanese drama called Turn to Me Mukai-kun, which you can also watch in Netflix. It's directed by Shoko Kusano and Shigeyama Yoshinori. Yeah. This is a really fun series. It's about this guy, Mukai, who is in his 30s. He has that basic middle class life, has a corporate job, etc. But he really struggles with dating. So he realizes at one point that oh he hasn't had a girlfriend in a while, so he wants to start dating again. But then each date and each woman that she or he meets, there are always these misunderstandings which are really funny. And then he slowly learns more about dating and how to understand people better, how to understand women better. And it's a really fun show again, just exploring dating and all the pitfalls of dating and how hard it can be for people. And it does that in a comedic and fun way. And then there are these like great side characters, like his brother-in-law has this curry place, this curry restaurant or curry restaurant, and there's lots of eating involved in this show, which is always fun to see in Japanese shows when the characters are eating all those beautiful Japanese foods and they go to lots of restaurants here. So that's kind of a fun side thing about this show. It has a bit of an open-ended ending, so I guess some could argue that it's not a feel-good show because the ending is something that is a bit open-ended. But I think overall the vibe is very comedic and fun, and the show is just very easy to watch. But it also has like interesting comments about modern dating and dating in Japan, etc. So I would highly recommend this. So if you have Netflix, you can watch it there. I think this is like 10 episodes, and the episodes were like 45 minutes long. So I think the whole show is like 8 or 9 hours long, something like that. Yeah. Then another Japanese show, you can watch this at the Viki Rakuten streaming service, but it's called Hold My Hand Twilight. And it's about this guy and this woman, both of them are in their early 20s, I think. But the guy is a music producer, but he hasn't made it big yet. But he's trying to make a hit single and stuff. And then this woman is from a small town, but she ends up in Tokyo. And then they meet and they start live as like flatmates in Tokyo. And she has just gone through a breakup because she was supposed to get married to this like rich guy or like upper middle class guy, but then the guy has found another woman, and then she is absolutely devastated about that, and that's why she ends up staying in Tokyo. Yeah, and they just randomly meet a couple of times, and then they again develop this friendship and possibly a romance later on. And she has a passion for fashion that rhymed, but yeah, so she tries to become a fashion designer while he strives for that musician thing. So both of them are very creative people and they are striving for big things. So this show focuses on how they are doing that and also their relationship. And it has that drama tone for the most part, but it has lots of humorous moments as well and lots of great side characters. And kind of like I said with First Love, if you love those Japanese dramas and Japanese slice of life movies, I think you would also probably like this type of TV show. Yeah, because this feels like it could have been made by Koreeda as well. So yeah, and this is also like 8 or 9 hours long, I think. So yeah, highly recommend this one. This is also like a really good show. It's not a trashy, so I think it's a very well made show. And I also really like both of these main characters, especially her character Soramame is her name. I really love her character. She's so charming, so funny and witty, and yeah, great character. Then this one I've watched a couple of times. I discovered this like late last year, so it's both in English. Here we only have the Japanese title, but it's in English. It's called She Loves to Cook and She Loves to Eat. Yeah, Chukuri tai onna, to tapetai onna. Yeah. So this is about these two women in their 30s. They live in the same apartment complex. Again, the woman in the left loves to eat a lot of food, and the woman on the right loves to cook food. But then randomly, the woman who loves to cook, like she cooks too much. And then she gets this idea that maybe she'll ask her neighbor to eat some of the food with her because she cooked too much. And then she really loves her food. And then due to that, they become this friendship where one of them cooks and one of them eats. And they just keep meeting each other all the time in their apartment complex and hanging out. And then slowly but surely, their relationship becomes more and more deep. Like they become like the best friends. And then in the end, they also start developing romantic feelings for each other, although neither of them knew that they are lesbians. So it explores their like slowly blossoming relationship. But it's a really fun, very simple show where they just eat and cook and hang out. It's very simple. It doesn't have any or much like big drama. There are some moments of like family tension, and then they explore like queer rights in Japan, and there isn't a good situation in Japan in that regard. So, like for example, same-sex marriage is still illegal in Japan, even though I think in polls it shows that uh, majority of people would be in favor of same-sex marriage. So it explores those problems a little bit, but for the most part, it's just a very cozy, fun, light-hearted slice of life story about two a woman just eating and cooking and having fun and falling in love. And this one actually has, I think it's like 30 episodes, but the episodes are only like 15 minutes long, so you can watch this show very quickly. And I absolutely love this one. And it has that kind of indie, like low budget indie style, but I like it a lot. Yeah, such a great show. And again, if you love those Japanese slice of life things, I think you would like this one a lot. Then we have a couple of anime shows. This one actually just rewatched, and I have watched it 3 times, but it's called My Love Story or Ore Monogatari. It's directed by Kotono Watanabe, Nanako Shimazaki, and some other people as well. But this is just such a beautiful, light-hearted story. So it's about, again, this big guy here. He's like a really strong, biggest guy in high school. Like the guys admire him for his athleticism and his strength. Some of the women uh, don't like him, but then he and his friend here, and his friend is like this beautiful guy that all the girls like, and he's also like very smart bookworm guy, while the big guy is this kind of athletic but very good-hearted, very kind person, and both of the guys are very kind. But then one day they save this girl from a grouper in a like what's the word, in a subway or in a train, and then the girl just falls in love with the big guy here. But then of course the guy, because women usually don't like him but they like his friend, he thinks that she fell in love with the beautiful guy on the back. But then their relationship slowly starts developing. Yeah. So it's a romance story. It's about romance and friendship. And what makes this feel good is that all of the characters are like very kind, amazing people, really funny people. So you really like root for all the characters. Like they are like good examples of what humans should be. Yeah. And it has this beautiful, very colorful style to it. Like every episode is lighthearted and fun. There isn't that much drama or tension there. It's mostly just fun and cute moments. Yeah, it's about that blossoming young love. That's always beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, I would highly recommend this if you really need something that's like really candy floss and very feel good. Like this is the most feel good you get. This you can find on Netflix or Crunchyroll. Yeah, great stuff. Then this one is Free Rent Beyond Journey's End, and kind of like Merlin. This is a fantasy story that has like mages and elves and dwarves and warriors and demons, etc. But it's about Frieren, who we have here, and she is this elven mage. She's over 1,000 years old. She's one of the strongest mages in this world, and she basically saved this world. But then we actually follow what happens after she saved the world. Her old companions, some of them have died because elves lived so long, but of course humans die after living just for a few decades. So she starts this new journey with this young human mage and this young human warrior, and they go around this magical world, uh, doing these small tasks. And sometimes there are these bigger episodes where they fight demons. But this has a very cozy vibe to it, very fun vibe to it, very peaceful vibe to it. It's also very optimistic, and even though it has that big fantasy world, it mostly just focuses on these small things. And thematically, it's all about friendship, all about the beauty of making connections with other people. And it's about like Free Rent, the old mage, finding out what makes humanity so special, what makes friends so special. Yeah. And this is just like very easy to watch, but it's also has deeper meanings and great story, great characters. And this is also like very highly rated. People really love it. And the second season just came out recently and it was really good. And the third season is gonna come out next year, so it will be continued. Yeah, absolutely love it. But anyway, that was my list. So Merlin was the extra big again, rest in peace, Anthony Head. Hometown Cha Cha Cha, highly recommend that. First Love, Our Unwritten Soul, Lovely Runner, Smallville, Turn to Me Mukai-kun, Hold My Hand at Twilight, She Loves to Cook, She Loves to Eat, My Love Story, and Free Rent Beyond Journey's End. So mostly Japanese and Korean stuff, but couple of English language things as well. Let me know what you think of any of these. Feel free to do a response video if you also watch TV shows, or you can let me know your choices in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. Don't drink Coke at all. Sayonara and arigato gozaimashita.